Okay, so in this video, we're going to be talking about how to get buy-in from a team after you've started using Airtable, but now you want to expand it to either the rest of your team or maybe to an adjacent team or a larger department. So that's what we're going to be talking about. We have Kelly here, who is our Director of Client Experience here at OptimizeIS. And Kelly, if you want to jump in, give yourself a quick intro, and then we'll jump into the questions.
Yep. Thanks, Ben. Client experience here at Optimize came over because I love Airtable as a user. I used it when I, at two different companies managing security PMOs, and my other related project program portfolio management, where I didn't get to use Airtable, was at a large holding company with lots of different things to connect the dots with.
Awesome. So I think a great place to start for this question would be, why is this a problem? Like what are some of the pain points you've seen for the people who are opposed to trying out a new tool? Like why is that basically? Like why are people resistant to going into Airtable? Could we start there?
Sure. I think there's two main reasons. One could be tool fatigue. Either there's too many tools already, and why do you want me to bring in another? Or there's been failures implementing systems. Then it's, now you're actually really pushing the rock uphill, and you have to communicate with individuals around why it's going to be different this time. But I think it fundamentally comes down to, like, we are all individuals. We all want to do things our own way, and there's no way your system can be better than what I am doing on my own. So those, I think, are kind of the two challenges to overcome when implementing this or any other system.
Yeah, that makes sense. So as far as getting buy-in from these other teams, what have you seen be, or not just from teams or from, it's really the people that we're caring about here. What have you
Yeah.
seen be successful?
Yeah, I think it is getting buy-in from stakeholders throughout the entire process. And a lot of the times, we kind of start, I'll say, like the middle layer, the person that's owning Airtable or who is in charge of pulling the report together. And then, then they hand it to the leadership and say, this is great. And maybe they haven't communicated the why or all of the factors that are making Airtable a better solution than some others. So making sure that the leadership dashboarding, that their interactions, that the experience they get out of it gives them the information that they need for decisions is really important. But none of that reporting or dashboarding is going to be good if the individual contributors don't have an easy way to get in their updates. If it feels to them like it is more work than what they were doing before, or they're only reporting for somebody else's reports or sake, then they just don't feel the value of using it themselves. So really making sure that everyone that is touching the process along the way gets some value out of it is the key there. And it might be, hey, I'm an individual contributor. I own X many tasks or this many things that I have to keep updated. And when I start realizing that if I just, get them updated as they're done, then nobody's coming to me and asking me for updates while I'm working on something else really important.
Yeah.
It could also be then I start to find the value of, oh, I actually have a list and I know the prioritization and I know what I should be working on. So like that's a little bit of like, a ladder along the way for getting an individual who just needs to make updates for someone else to see the value along the way. The reverse kind of comes true when leadership sees that they can ask a question and get an answer like right now. I've gone like the full gamut of being able to do quarterly reports. Decades ago when I was in sales, like how we planned for our quarterly, like our QBRs, our business reviews to our leadership or our territory leadership, it would be me basically blocking off my calendar and for 3 days digging through my own spreadsheets, trying to remember what we talked about in a specific email, an idea I had months ago that I forgot to write down, events that we did, and none of those things being connected. Like that you lose a week of productivity to prepare for a 2-hour meeting is an obstacle that we can overcome.
I think I learned this early on. If we like go back to where we were talking about getting buy-in from the team, is basically some of the challenges we had initially when we were first starting out in consulting is not listening to enough stakeholders. Like often we had a direct line of sight, like we were reached out to by one specific person, and we really understood their pain points, but we didn't go out to others. Like there's, in order to get buy-in from that team, you need to understand like whoever you're talking to, they're not always representing the whole picture and like everybody's user story. So as far as like what types of users there are, could you talk a little bit about like some of the key stakeholders you would want to listen to in a PMO?
Yep, 100%. So I think it's first a little bit of like who needs to get or see or hear information, but then like boiling that down to where does that information come from, and how do we pull it together? So if we think again, kind of back to a PMO of a project, there's probably, depending on the project, at some point, dozens of people or dozens of roles. It could be one person with dozens of roles, or dozens of people with each one role each, but they all have to make an update around different things, because you have all of the different elements of a project, down from task management to budgets to turning something on to communicating to educating. And again, if it's very hard for me to make that update or share that information, I'm not going to do it until I know somebody really wants it and that they're going to use it. So first, making it easy for me to use the tool and not have to know how to use the tool, I think is real key. And a lot of what we do at Optimize is talking to those stakeholders and what do you like now about the way you do things? What do you not like now? We talk sometimes about reluctance to change, and maybe there's, on their own special spreadsheet that they've created, there's an indicator field that really makes their life easy. Gather that information, see where you can build something into the process so that whatever an individual needs, they don't have to replicate the data and do something somewhere else. So I think that's really the key, is getting people to want to use it because it's easy and they know that their information is going to cascade up properly and that someone's going to look at it. So having, all of the different touch points, I guess depending on the size of the company, there's probably at least 2, could be 5. Who needs to hear something and who needs to say something is like your smallest. Mm-hmm. But it could be, I'm the leader of the team and I need my 5 people to tell me something so I can, push it up to a bigger group. And again, just knowing that it's easy to enter the information and that it's used, I think really kind of captures that, like, people wanting to buy in and lean into using a new tool.
That's perfect. That's perfect. I think that really aligns with what we've seen work well with certain customers and work not well with others, is that getting the buy-in piece of it. So we're going to end it here. If you have questions that you want Kelly to answer, or that you just have about PMOs using Airtable or any of the things that we've talked about, throw them in the comments, leave a comment for Kelly, ask her a question. We'll either get back to you in the comments section or maybe we'll make a video out of it. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.